I was already recommended by ChatGPT to a client and have no idea how or why. This is what Sandra told me the other day. So this video is for anybody who is getting recommended by ChatGPT or other AI tools like Claude or Gemini, and they want to get more recommendations, or if you're not getting recommended at all, this video is for you. In order to get recommended by ChatGPT and other AI tools, we first have to understand how AI actually decides who to recommend and what they're going to say about you. There was a study that was done that looked at how people are being recommended and how businesses are being recommended and what are the citations or what are the sources of information that AI used to make that recommendation. What's interesting is if you look at these numbers, we have a tremendous amount of control over what AI is going to say about us and whether it does say anything about us. When you look at those numbers, 44% of those citations are coming directly from your website. Another 42% are coming from business listing sites or business directory sites like Google or LinkedIn or Facebook or the Yellow Pages. Only about 8% of the citations and references are coming from reviews and social media sites, and then an even smaller portion from forums and communities. So when you add these two numbers up, 44% being your own website and 42% being business listings, this is a lot of control that you have in your hands to get your website showing up in ChatGPT or the information on your website to show up in ChatGPT and other AI tools. So this process or the steps that we take to show up in ChatGPT is called AI search. The technical terms that are being used to reference AI search are GEO, which stands for Generative Engine Optimization, or AEO, which is Answer Engine Optimization. A really big distinction in understanding how ChatGPT makes a recommendation is to be able to compare that against how Google would and how the user experience or what that user would be doing. So when we go to ChatGPT, a person would put in something like, should I hire? And I put in the name of somebody that I know to sell my home. And when someone goes to Google, however, instead of asking a question, they might just put the name of that individual, maybe with a distinction of realtor, or maybe they would put in the area in which they sell real estate or where they're looking to buy real estate. And here's where the big difference between these tools exist, which is in Google and in traditional search, when someone is searching for you, it's going to display a list of links. It's going to display a list of links, and it's their job, or your job if you're reading it, to click through each one of these links and then develop your own interpretation of whether or not you want to hire that individual. Now contrast that with what ChatGPT and AI does. What ChatGPT is going to do is it's going to go to many of those same links and those same sources of information, but instead of just feeding them back to you, ChatGPT is going to create an interpretation of those results that it found. Our job is to be able to not just surface and show up and be one of the sources that ChatGPT is going to reference, but also influence and shape how it's going to talk about us. So when I said earlier that 44% of those references that ChatGPT and AI was using came from your website, you can see that play out here. The majority of these links are coming from our website that we have control over. So one of the ways that we can influence ChatGPT and other AI tools is by having the right information on our website. And that begs the question, of course, what should we have on our website? There are 3 minimum requirements of the things that you need to have on your website. So ChatGPT and other AI tools know what to say about you. The first one is we want to have a very descriptive bio. A descriptive bio is a way for you to stand out. It's a way for you to stand out and differentiate and give ChatGPT something that it may not find in other locations and other places. So be very descriptive in your bio. I have this bio writing prompt that I've used that I'll share in the notes so that you can use this prompt and you can put it into your favorite AI tool of choice. What it's going to do is it will ask you a series and sequence of questions. I highly recommend that you just turn on the voice dictation feature of ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using and just give a stream of conscious response to the questions that it gives you, and it will synthesize that into 3 different formats for your bio. It'll give you one for your website, another one for a shorter version for your social media profiles, and one that's kind of multi-purpose. Something else you need to have on your website are reviews and recommendations. Tools like ChatGPT, they don't discriminate or devalue reviews and recommendations from your site. So making sure that you have them, of course, in all of the usual places out there, like on Google and on the top home search sites. Make sure you pull them all into your website and maybe even put them onto your broker site if that's an option. Broker sites tend to have high authority in local markets if they've been around, but you can and absolutely should have your own website list out your different reviews and recommendations. When you look at the sources that ChatGPT pulled in to be able to give a reference or talk about this individual, you can see that it was pulling it directly from the website and the recommendations featured on that website. Now, the last pieces of information you want to have on your website are FAQs, questions and answers. And so here's an example of what that looks like. It's literally on your website asking a question and then answering that question. Now, you might be asking, what types of questions should I answer on my website? You want to think through what are common questions that someone might want to have about you, what common questions that someone might have about the neighborhoods that you serve or the areas that you serve. And what you can do is you can actually go to Google then and type that in here. So let's say, for example, I was selling real estate in Circle C Ranch of the Austin area. I'll put in Circle C home values. And when I put in a search topic, notice how it's giving me an AI overview. Here's a cool thing that you can do. You can scroll down and look for people also ask. And within people also ask, you're going to find questions that are related to that search that you can answer on your website. Now, you can put it in the FAQ format. You can even write blog posts answering this question so that it will potentially show up in these different types of search results. The second largest source of information that's going to feed AI or ChatGPT on how to recommend you and what to say about you are business listings. Now, think of business listings as the yellow pages for the internet. I've got the 6 top business listing sites that you should have a business listing on. These are all free for you to claim your business listing. Google Business Profile, obviously that's going to show up in Google Search and on Google Maps. For Apple Business Connect, that is for people using Apple Maps. Being Places for Business is going to be used by Microsoft. Facebook Business has a lot of visibility for both your business and posts. If you're posting on behalf of your business in Facebook Business, those also start to surface. Yellow Pages has really high authority because it's traditional, it's old school, but it is also online. And then LinkedIn has really high visibility. If you've ever searched yourself, you'll notice that if you've created a LinkedIn profile, it's probably going to show up in the top 5 search results on Google. AI tools also use these business listings to be able to understand, should they recommend you? How do they recommend you? Now, there is a really important tip when it comes to business listings. Make sure your nap is consistent. I'm not talking about falling asleep on a regular afternoon and being consistent with your napping, but your name, address, and phone number must be in an exact match so that your name is spelled exactly the same, that the phone number is exactly the same, and the address is spelled exactly the same, meaning if there's commas or if you're adding a designation to your name, everything must be exactly the same for it to be recognized as the same business. Don't assume that just because you got the name and the address right, but the phone number is missing, that it's okay. No, it needs the name, address, and phone number, and it has to be consistent across all of those business listing sites. So those are the things that you can do to show up more frequently and more powerfully or effectively in ChatGPT and other AI search tools. Now, if you don't know where to start, I highly recommend that you get an AI search audit done, and you can get one. I'll include a link to a tool and resource that you can use to conduct your own AI search audit. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can get tips, strategies, and know-how to make AI and real estate technology useful, practical, and profitable. I'll see you in the next video.